Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. The Green Bay Packers. So I was mistaken earlier. I said they finished 12-4. They actually finished 13-3, which is a big jump up from where I had them last year, 6-10. Well, you know what? I'm going to double down here. 2020, Packers 6-10 again. I am calling it. Booyah.
Oh my gosh. I got to disagree with you, Juju. I think, we counted them out. Now, I will say it was the quietest 13-3 I have ever seen for a football team. Like, by the time we got to the end of the season, I was like, the Packers went 13-3? When did that happen? But they were winning games where it was like so close or like barely, like it wasn't very, pizzazzy or anything like that. It wasn't flashy. And we could just tell when they got to the 49ers, right, in the playoffs again, it was just like, yeah, I knew that matchup was going to go that way. Like, we knew the Packers were good enough to squeak by in all the games that they did, but we knew they also weren't good enough to be able to beat your Niners. So, I don't know. The Packers were a weird team, but I've got to disagree with you. I think they're going to go 11-5. So, still have them finishing second in the division. But I'm not going to double down on. I don't think they regress that badly.
Here's I guess the reason I have them at that mark. As I'm just going through the schedule, I see the wins. They're going to be facing a first place schedule this year, right? So that means, again, they're going to have to play the Niners. They're going to have to play the Saints. They're going to play the toughest teams in the division, in the conference. Mm-hmm. Not to mention how tough their division is as a whole. That, like I mentioned, this NFC North is just filled with landmines everywhere you look. And the problem is they didn't do much to help their team from last year. So in the first round, instead of drafting for need, they drafted a guy named Jordan Love, who, I don't know if you know this, Dre, but he plays quarterback. He doesn't play
really?
He doesn't play wide receiver, which surprisingly is what I was told that Aaron Rodgers was hoping that this team would draft. In fact, he said it multiple times. And when you hear Aaron Rodgers talk since that draft pick, he sounds understanding, but he still doesn't sound too happy that it happened. I just don't understand how you can not help your quarterback after what happened in the NFC Championship game. They got embarrassed. They didn't even draft defensive linemen that could make a big difference to stop the Niners or stop another team with an imposing rushing attack. So I don't know where this team got better compared to last year. And it's been shown time after time, teams that win those what they call coin flip games, the following year they tend to either regress, or if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you're a team that won a lot of coin flip or lost a lot of coin flip games, sometimes those teams are set for the biggest improvements. So I think that's where the Packers fall. It's clear that they're not as good as some of the top teams in the division. And who is Aaron Rodgers going to throw to? He only has Devontae Adams. They released Jimmy Graham. Geronimo Allison, like I said, went to the Lions and then opted out. Devin Funchess, who they signed this year, he was their big wide receiving acquisition. He opted out. They drafted A.J. Dillon to play running back, but they also have Aaron Jones. So unless you're just telling me they're going to run the ball ad nauseum this year, I don't know what this team did to get better. And I think, in fact, they got worse.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you in that they definitely did not improve. And again, Jordan Love signing is like or draft pick, whatever, is got to be the most puzzling of the entire draft. And you sort of alluded to this, but I don't think you said it explicitly, in that Jordan Love is not a wide receiver. They also did not choose any other wide receiver in this draft, right? And literally a draft that is loaded with wide receivers. I can't tell you how many we saw go in the first round and even into the second round. Like, there's so many wide receivers, like good wide receivers.
I want to say it was either 27 or 37 wide receivers got drafted this year. And the fact that the Packers drafted none of them, it's just shocking. Like, not even just the first round wide receivers. I know that they're saying that the Niners sniped them when they traded up to draft Brandon Ayuk, but still on the board, you still had so many other options. You had Denzel Mims, you had Jalen Reagor, I believe, at that spot. You had other talented rookies, Laviska Shenault, but none of them were drafted to the Packers. And I think that that's just unforgivable for this organization, because we talked about it with the Detroit Lions. What direction is this team heading in? It sounds like a team that's planning for the future, but this team won 13 games last year. So what messages are you sending to not only your fans, not sports analysts, but just the team? I don't hate Jordan Love. In fact, he might be a very talented cornerback. In fact, they might have made the right decision drafting him. But overall, for the franchise's long-term future, but here and now in 2020, if I have to make a prediction based around this year, which we're doing on this show, I think it is a detriment to this organization that they made that decision in the here and now. They even traded up to do it. They were at pick 30 and they traded up 4 spots to pick this guy. So that tells you they thought this one out. This wasn't just some off-the-cuff type of move. They said, okay, if we are in a position where Brandon Ayuk and some of the other wide receivers we like Justin Jefferson, are not on the board, then we're going to trade up and draft Jordan Love. And again, like, I just don't see how this makes this team better. I think that they were a 6-10 team playing the role of a 13-3 team last year. And I think this year is going to show it. Yeah.
I think the other thing too that, we got to sort of factor in is from a football standpoint, right? Of course, the Jordan Love draft pick doesn't make them any better, because Jordan Love will likely be on the bench for most of the season, if not the whole season. But I think mentally and emotionally, we've seen that Aaron Rodgers can be pretty fickle when it comes to quarterbacks, right? Like he's not one of those quarterbacks that's like, oh, I'm all about, whatever's best for the team, and we're going to, no matter what, we got to push through. Like, we've seen that he can pout sometimes and he can have an attitude. And so who knows what he's thinking going into the season. And like you said, in recent interviews, he seemed a little bit more receptive to the choices that, the front office and coaching staff made in the draft. But he might still have it in his mind, like, nah, screw this organization, or I don't feel good about this year. I don't really want to play. And it might reflect on the field.
When your quarterback in an interview prior to the draft says that he wants a wide receiver and you don't draft a wide receiver, that tells me everything you have to know about where the organization is versus the mindset of their quarterback. I think in many ways, the Packers, I think they're done with Aaron Rodgers. I think that there's a strained relationship there that is beyond repair. And I don't think there ever really was a great relationship between Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers to begin with. I think that was one of the big narratives that was played into this decision, that Matt LaFleur wants his guy. And if you're Matt LaFleur, hey, you can say, add this to your resume. In my first year coaching, I finished 13-3. But I think that might be your only winning season for a while, buddy, because again, I have the Packers finishing 6-10, and from another popular series on the Slumpbuster Podcast channel, they will absolutely 100% suck this year in general.